There we go.
Hello. Hello, Lydia. Hello, everyone.
Yay, I'm so excited. How are you?
Good, good. I'm very excited.
I have a million questions from people.
So shall we start?
Yeah, go ahead. I wanted to ask you what inspired you to start Arcblock. Is that too long of a story, or can we go into that one?
Oh, yeah, sure. What inspired me to start our blog? And I think starting our blog is kind of like accidentally, because I left Microsoft in year 13 and back to the startup world, right? Um, so we tried many different things and try to survive with the startup. We tried many different things. Eventually, um, my startup we settled to try to build a knowledge sharing community. So the idea is try to let everybody to share some useful knowledge and but we found the problem in the knowledge sharing community. The problem is everybody want to have some cool knowledge from others, but not everyone want to share their knowledge to others, right? So so at the time that we want to solve this problem, we think we need to build some kind of incentive method. What if I share some knowledge and become useful for others, then the others can give me something for return, not necessarily the money, but probably give me some likes or some kind of virtual coins or something. So during that time, Ethereum was just to get started. We think I get to know the Ethereum and think Ethereum is a brilliant idea, and we can build this whole knowledge sharing based on this Ethereum thing. And um, yeah, so that's basically it's completely not related to our blog, but it's just to try to build application on top of it, right? So then when we build something on the Ethereum, because Ethereum is very early stage. It's just like try to build something on our blog like a couple years ago. It's very painful because there's a lot of things. The vision is good, but here is broken, there is broken. So during that time, try to build anything on Ethereum is really hard, and we have to build some kind of a library or some kind of a couple of the tools try to make it easier to build application on blockchain. So in I think that in year 2017, and the company is still bootstrapped. We're nearly run out of the money. We don't have any money to go. I come to visit a lot of venture capitalists, the potential investors, and try to show them what we are build. We want to raise the money, but apparently nobody interested in nobody zero people interested in the knowledge sharing service we try to create. I remember uh, there's a week that I visited like 30 different venture capitalists. None of them interested in um, what we try to build. Um, but once I finally get some of the once I visited one of the VC, that is we actually know many years ago, and he is very kind to interested in to talk with me about a bunch of new things. So then I tell him, so what behind the knowledge sharing community there this Ethereum development platform, the tool set we built, that is very interesting, and this makes develop the blockchain applications so much easier. During that time, blockchain is already become very popular. At that time, Ethereum just get the, I think they just had the fork because they have this kind of a hacking problem. Uh, but the whole everybody are interested in the blockchain. But then eventually that VC friends, he eventually become the first one of our first institutional investors. He suggested us say if you try to build this kind of knowledge sharing community on top of this is amazing, but you cannot build skyscrapers on the sands, because right now Ethereum is basically like the sands, right? But what I can see is you guys build um, this platform, this kind of a frameworks, so that could not only useful for you guys, but also useful for anybody who see the vision of building applications on top of the blockchain. So he gave me some suggestions. What if you know, put away those kind of knowledge sharing ideas, but instead focus on make your framework and platform more accessible, not just for ourselves, but for everybody, right? So that could be a bigger vision.
Oh,
So
that is so cool. So you you dealt with a lot of people kind of doubting your dream in the very beginning, and your dream kind of shifted as well to align more with what was going to essentially work, it sounds like. I want to know, how did you, like, I don't know, it's just it's incredibly inspirational that you just kept going. I want to know, like, what that drive was. Like, you knew that this was what you were supposed to do.
I think this is a sometimes I think doing startup is like this. You have to pivot a lot, right? You have um, I'm a kind of person that have a lot of idea, a lot of dreams, and and I also experiment a lot of things. Um, but you need to also be adaptive and dynamic, right? So because if we build something, it's not just about achieve the dream, but about to build something that somebody want to use, right? So most of us, when we build a startup, I think the biggest problem is that we want to build something that nobody come to use. You build something nobody use, but what's the point, right? So ideally, I really enjoyed if I build something that other people use, right? So it's not best. If I build something that make a lot of money, probably I'm not that happy enough. But if I build something that a lot of people use, a lot of people happy about it, a lot of people use that to build something else, I think that's the most happy thing. And I found that once you get this done, the money is not no longer a problem. You don't need to worry about money. And because before our blog, I built like two startups. So I found that building a startup, the most important thing is build something that people there's other people want to use.
Okay, I'm going to kind of reroute this and ask you a question, but I did want to know this. What hobbies or interests do you have outside of work? Like, what do you enjoy doing?
So the things that I really interest the most is computer and software, right? because honestly, I'm a nerd, right? So I like the computer since I'm in high school. Um, so, but other than the computer and software, the most thing I'm most interested in traveling. I really love to travel to different new places. Uh,
I'm laughing because that was the other question I was going to ask you, is what your favorite place to travel was, because I knew you were going to say that. And I just mean, like, for personal, like, travel. Like, where in the world is, like, your favorite place to go?
I think the next place is my favorite place to go.
That's a great answer. But that's really cool. And yeah, I kind of figured that. I mean, technology probably was pretty high on the list of interests.
Yeah, so
But
I feel I'm very lucky because I'm doing. So my job is actually my interest, is my hobby. So that is very fortunate.
oh, this was the other question I wanted to ask you, though. What do you do to find inspiration if you're feeling blocked?
Inspirations.
Yeah, like,
I
what do
think
you do to inspire yourself?
I think I'm just a very curious person. So whenever I see something interesting new, I want to get to know what it is, right? So by researching this, so actually get me inspired. I think yesterday I interacted with one of the friends in Twitter, and I basically suggest him, say, hey, come to look our Arcblock platform. Maybe you can use our platform for your applications. So this is something that I do all the time. And this guy responds to me, say, okay, I will take a look. So he said, my problem is whenever I see some exciting platform, I forgot what I want to do. I just put all my time to research your new platform, right? So I think this is myself. So I spend a lot of time to research new things. So fortunately, I never forgot what I want to do. I usually when I see something else, I'm thinking, okay, what I can do with this, and now sometimes I think what I can do with Artblock. So people see me share like I built a prototype for my Tesla that are running our block on it, and see I played the Starlink with some our block stuff on it. So sometimes people get overexcited. So look, our block is partnering with Tesla, with Starlink, or with some. So I kind of get so now I'm getting a little bit kind of nervous. Sometimes I try to not to share too much about this. Because if I share everything like this, you will see there's a lot of things that I'm trying to make it work with our blog, but most of them are just the experiment. Maybe 99 of them are just going to be nothing. We just experiment it, and we learn something, or we just find that this is not going to work. But that usually end up with a small percent or become eventually become something, right? So
Well, that's one of the things that I love, like, about reading your tweets the most. Or is it tweets anymore? I don't even know if that's what they call them anymore. Um, but I love that you're always, like, throwing ideas out there. Like, maybe I can do this, maybe I can do that. I can see the inventiveness of your mind.
yes. So yeah, I sometimes have too much ideas. So after so many years, eventually I get this kind of idea of dealing with new ideas. So every time when I get a new ideas, I'm going to have this kind of cool off period, right? When I really love one of idea, I tell myself, don't love this idea, let it cool, let it cool off for a few days or weeks. But if I really cannot forget this idea and really want to do that, and then I'm going to reinvestigate it and then think, okay, maybe this is a good thing to do, right? It's really effective because 90% of the cool idea after cool down a bit and look it back and you see, okay, this is dumb, right? This is not going to anywhere. But there's a few of those ideas that you will never forget, right? That's true love, right?
So, okay, this is kind of an interesting question, but I want to ask it. What are some of your fondest memories of growing up in China, and do any of them inform the way that you run Artblock today?
Yeah, I do have a lot of memories that in China that lead to today's art block. Uh, so our blog is a decentralized platform. So the idea of the decentralization I think the core idea is self-sovereignty. That is, you have the full control of your identity and your data. So this is also kind of connected to the freedom, right? You need to have your data freedom, have your identity freedom. That is not controlled by a party, a country, or any regulatory. You are yourself, right? So, so I found that if you ever lived in a place that you do not have such kind of freedom, you will realize how important this freedom is. So, uh, my experience in China, and it's really good memory for my family and my schools, and but I began to realize that, especially when I compare to my lives in Europe and in United States, I realized that the freedom of speech, freedom of express, freedom of innovation, that's so important. That's essential, right? So
That
I
kind
would
of
say
goes,
my experience
yeah,
there make
yeah.
me really think that we need to have the blockchain, have the decentralization, um, um, because that's so important for everybody.
I think that one really goes along with this question that one of your community members asked, which was what experiences in his life helped shape his views on government regulation and freedom. It really is
If
probably,
I
yeah.
expand that, if I talk too much about that, probably next time I will no longer have freedom to talk to you guys when I have to go back to China to visit my friends and family. So I have to say very
Completely
limitedly.
understand. Yeah, I understand that completely. I am going to bring up Vessi. She's a Web3 artist, and she has a song to sing for you. I kind of have a gift for you. Okay, so can I have her do this really quick?
Yeah, awesome. That's amazing.
Vessi, this is Robert.
Hi, Bessie.
Hello. Hi, Robert. Hi, Lydia. Hello, everybody. The
I'm
future.
so happy that you're here.
Me too. Thank you so much for inviting me.
I asked her to sing a song for you about a month ago, and I've been messaging her randomly, like, "Are you still going to do this? Can you do this?"
Yes. It's an honor to sing it for you. Uh,
Wow, that's cool.
all right. Here we go. I won't run away no more. I promise. Even when I get bored, I promise. Even when you lock me out, I promise. I say my prayers every night. I promise. I don't wish that I'm spread. I promise. The tantrums and the chilling chats. I promise. Even when the ship is wrecked, I promise. Tie me to the rotten deck, I promise. I won't run away no more. I promise. Even when I get bored, I promise. Even when you lock me out, I promise. Say my prayers every night. I promise. I promise. I don't wish that I'm spread. I promise. The tantrums and the chilling chats. I promise. Even when the ship is wrecked, I promise. Tie me to the rotten deck, I promise. I promise. I won't run away no more. I promise. Even when I get bored, promise. Even when you lock me out, I promise. I say my prayers every night. I promise. Yeah. Thank you.
You did such a beautiful job. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. So good. Yeah, I this is one of my favorite songs. So, Lydia, thanks for, and Vessi, thanks for singing this. So, I once said I want to, when we have a developer conference, I want to use this song, as a starting song, because building our blog and building a platform is a promise for our developers and promise for our users. And I really love this song, and you perform so well.
Thank you, Robert. Thank you, Lydia. And I had not heard that song before, so I love Radiohead, but I had not heard that. And very emotional, beautiful song that means so much. Thank you so much. And I look forward to hearing the rest of your talk today.
Yeah, thanks so much.
Thank you, Vessi. Yeah, Robert, I messaged her after, probably shortly after I saw you post that. Well, no, maybe that was a while back. But when I saw it, I was like, I need to have Vessi sing that song for him. I know that it's not Radiohead and it's not a developer event, but I wanted to give you something.
That's amazing. It's so meaningful. Yeah. Yeah, actually, I almost forgot to actually as one of the promise for our blog to our community and to the developers. And as of right now, we just announced a huge price reduction for across our blog platforms. So we just announced that on the blog on the website, and everything is already live. So we have, for example, we have reduced the NFT protocol fee from 100 ABT per NFT collection to 10 ABT. That's like 90% of the reduce. And we also reduce the price of the deep spaces, like 95%. So basically, the idea is we want to build a platform to enable more developers, more builders to build stuff, right? So recently the ABD price is increased. That is a great thing, but that kind of creates some barrier for more builders to onboard, and so we just decided to, make a dramatic decrease, and hopefully to make the ecosystem, uh, the entry barrier of an ecosystem even lower. So we're probably going to adjust this from time to time to ensure. So this is a platform that, for the by the developer and for the developers. So yeah, so that's a promise. So that's basically like, after I heard the song, like that make me remind my promise.
That is so cool. Yeah, that will be really, really helpful because I've talked to William a lot about NFTs and I'm like, I don't know if I can do this, but maybe that's possible now.
Yes, we want to make this especially for the builders. Uh, we need this 100% to be, to be useful, to be, everybody can do it, right? So it's basically like Ethereum. You see Ethereum recently, Ethereum did a good job, and Ethereum's gas price is low now. But it's like a couple of months ago, like a years ago, um, Ethereum's, gas price become extremely, extremely high. So for holders of a Ethereum token, it might be a good thing. That means you have more money. But for people who really want to build for on Ethereum, or people who really want to use Ethereum, it's going to be a big burden, right? So if I want to do anything, I need to pay like $100 just by sending a token or just a mint an NFT. This is ridiculous, right? So I try to promise that this will never happen in our blog. For example, we have a bunch of features. For example, make the gas fee free, and include this kind of a price rejection. All of those is have this principle that we want to first make this platform that is useful, right? Anything that is makes the people that has a burden to use it or make it inconvenient to use it, we want to remove it. So this is going to be a kind of progress that we are keep doing this, but this is like a principle we are always following.
I apologize. I was looking through this list of questions trying to figure out what I should ask you next. There's so many of them. I kind of like this one. How do you feel about humanitarian projects on DeFi?
um, I think that's a very important, and that is a big thing. So but I don't know the DeFi. I honestly, for myself, uh, I'm not get into the DeFi too much, because especially since the DeFi summer, the decentralized finance is kind of a become the concept that is really related to Ethereum smart contract, rather than the decentralized financing, the concept itself, right? And also, decentralization has not necessarily to always, related to the finance itself. So I probably not the best to have the idea that to talk about this, because if you there's constantly people asking me, so can I build a DeFi project on our block, or can I build some kind of a um, Ethereum alike um, DeFi project on our block itself. So I usually tell them, say, you can use Ethereum to build that, or you can use any blockchains that support that to build that, and then run the your application on our block. But myself, I haven't figured this out, 100%, and I'm more kind of thinking the general like application platform. Um, yeah, so I probably not the best to answer this one.
I think that I mean, just my experience in your community and interacting with your community members and you, like, the thing that I love the most about Arcblock is just how much soul you guys have. Like, there's so much humanitarianism in itself just within your community.
Yes, I think right now we have an amazing community, and that's why I really want to interact with, and I want to share my ideas, share my thoughts, also listen to what the community think about, and also I think the feedback from the community are really so helpful. Um, yeah, so I think so sometimes I always feel that um, for any project or any product, the most important is the user community, is the people who using your product and then provide the feedback, right? So that's the most important, that's the most important part. And so far, I think we are having amazing community. I wish we can, keep we can keep doing the right thing, and our community will, grow together with us.
Well, I feel like it's kind of interesting because that's how you bridge the gap because you began as this knowledge sharing I mean, that's what you were doing was knowledge sharing, and I feel like you've still encompassed that by your interaction, like, with your community members. You still got to retain that in a sense.
Yeah, I think so. Someday we are still. Someday I'm still going to do that knowledge sharing, knowledge sharing stuff. And actually during that time when we're doing that knowledge sharing, we actually also missing a very important puzzle, which is the AI. At the time, we want to build the AI because sharing a good knowledge needed AI. During those period of time, the AI is still very naive. But right now, the large language model and all AI stuff, solved a lot of a problem at the time, which we try very hard to solve. But now it's no longer a problem. I think someday we were still going to bring that knowledge sharing um, network, um, built on our block, and that will directly um, have have a lot of meanings for for everybody, because we have so many knowledge, everybody, all of those knowledge buried on our mind, buried on our notebooks, and it's not completely developed and shared. if we can make this shareable, and that will create great value.
It's really interesting that you said that the way that you did about the AI, because what I was actually like feeling before when you said you were going to all these people and you kept being told no and no, it was never that what you were doing was wrong. It was that the world wasn't ready for you yet. Like that was what I was feeling. Like what you were doing was so ahead of its time that the world wasn't ready for it yet. But now the world is finally catching up to being ready.
Yeah, that's a very complimentary for me. Yeah, so and honestly, yes, sometimes I think I'm always doing something that is in the early days of this time. So that's give me a lot of the benefit, because doing something early has this kind of first mover advantage. But it's also very challenging, because you are always belong to the people that you choose to walk on the road that nobody walked before, right?
You, you told me to bring up astrology, but I can tell you just very briefly that that is Aquarius energy. It's a theme of Aquarius energy. I always say, give them, or they'll understand in 20 years, 5 years, 10 years, but not now. But they will understand eventually. All right, what else do we have for you? What do you want to talk about ArcSphere? Because that was one of the questions, and I kind of liked it.
Yeah, so Oxfairs, I it was one of our project in the stealth mode, and we want to. So the idea is right now, for any of those decentralized applications, it it all runs on the browsers, and but today's mobile phone is increasingly become the most important device that everybody use, right? However, the mobile phones, the reality is today we have iPhone and Android, and they are all uh, the phones that created by large corps. It's not possible for everybody to easily to build this kind of decentralized apps on those phones. So that's basically we have this idea many years ago that we need this kind of a we call it DApps browsers, which is it works like our internet browsers, but it's not browsing the website, but instead it's running DApps. So anybody can use these DS browsers to launch decentralized apps that without any permissionlessly. You don't need permission to do that. So the ArcSpheres is actually this kind of a. We designed the ArcSphere to be this kind of platform. That is, you can imagine this is kind of new type of the browsers, but instead of browsing the HTML web page, it act like a full application. It's just act like a full mobile application, just like today's any of the iPhone or Android application. They feel like super fast and native feel. And most importantly, Artblock is like a white label. Is whenever you run it on any D apps, it just to make you feel that this is the D apps. It's not something that's running inside. It's not an art block as a Chrome that everybody um, everybody is just a kind of like small window inside it. So that is what the ArcSphere is trying to do, and this is also be helpful to break the burden that sometimes when you try to build some DApps that you are not able to get reviewed, pass review from Apple or Google, because there's a lot of ridiculous laws and regulations, or the large corporate try to stop you. So building a browser alike application, which is a very general purpose. So we can have a decentralized identity and decentralized identifier building. We can have the crypto support building, and but the application itself is just like a blank sheet shells, and then it's going to load any DApps run on top of that. That's going to be a game changer. If I call that infrastructure software component, that is potentially make all those kind of DApps run our block platform to have the the first class user experience on those mobile devices. So we have tried this like for a very long time now, and now I think it's very close to potentially we're going to ship this the beta version maybe by the end of a Q2 or Q3. Um, yeah.
Okay, what are you most excited about in relation to Arcblock this year?
I'm constantly excited about. Honestly, I'm always excited about our blog's development, and so recently there's a lot of result that is more visible to public. But in the past few years, I think every week I see the progress. Right. So, for example, just before this live space, we just have our weekly demo meetings. So that is how our blog team works. Every Friday we're going to have a company we call it demo day. So that day everybody going to conference in the online conference together. Everybody going to show what I have built, what I see, what I've built, and it's all live code, no bullshit. So that basically like every Friday I'm super excited because every Friday I'm going to see exciting stuff that built by our teams. Some of those kind of demos are going to fail, or some of those demos are going to show that things not work as expected. But I can see from every week, I can see the progress. Is the change, the new features, and the cool stuff where we're building are shipping as we decided, right? So I think recently from this year, so because our platform, most of the platform are ready to go and begin to have the and then more and more people are beginning to see what we have achieved. So that's really excited me because in the past, whenever you talk about like D apps, decentralized apps, people either don't know what it is, or people think this is something that is going to be very slow. This is something going to be slow, and it need a wallet that need to pay. People just feel this is something with a bad experience. But from very beginning, when we started our blog, I believe that decentralized applications supposed to be 10x better than traditional applications. It should have exactly the same good user experience as any of today's mobile apps or centralized apps. But why is 10x better? The 10x better because you have full control of everything. It's your data, your identity. You have excellent privacy, and it does not depend on others. So that's why it's 10x better because you have the best user experience and it belongs to yourself. It's not controlled by somebody else. I'm so excited that this is going to so this is ready to let more and more people experience themselves. Seeing is believing, right? They see this and they believed, and the more people believed, and the power of the decentralized apps, we're going to eventually take over. Who don't want to own your own data, own your own identity? Who want to control it by somebody else? I
Well,
don't
and
believe
just
that.
the creative potential in what you are offering people is insane to me. Like, that's something that I would like to get into. Like, what people are capable of creating via agents. And like, well, one of the questions that For Society had was what agents you've personally created, and if so, what are they?
So I personally create a bunch of agents that help myself do a lot of things. For example, one of the bad secret I can share with you guys is you constantly see my opinions in in the Forbes media, right? So they quote my ideas and the talks, right? So I joined the council board for a very long time. In the past, from time to time, sometime I give some ideas, but none of them get published. Why? Because my English is poor. Because and also I hate to spend a lot of time to write those things. But now I have my own bot. So whenever I have any ideas that I'm kind of relevant to share, I just tell my bot, and then the bot is going to organize and write that for me. And then guess what? Almost every month they're going to publish a few of my viewpoints. So I think that is if their editor know that, they're going to hate because they have policy that do not want AI to write things. But actually, everything I publish there is actually written by my AI agent. But of course, that's still my idea, right? So the idea is original for myself, but the AI agent helped me to organize them better. I think that's really valuable.
Do you talk to your agent, like that agent directly? Like, is it just like communication? Like, do you say it out loud or are you writing it?
Oh, I write it because this is just like coding. So my user interface of those agent and before the agent, become a form. The agent product becomes a real product. It has terrible user interface, very ugly, but it works. So probably because I'm a nerd, I'm a software developer. Sometimes I more can kind of feel comfortable to write something in the terminal, right? So just a command line and then it works.
Oh, that is way too cool though. Seriously. Okay, well, I know that you've like talked about a lot of things in relation to agents or ideas of like apps like creating like a virtual girlfriend, boyfriend. Um, do you just run with these ideas and create these things?
Yeah, so with AI, I think the capability is whenever you have any ideas, right? You can build with the AI, and then you can experiment it, right? You can try it, and so yeah, so with today's large language model and AI, you can have like virtual girlfriend, boyfriend, virtual pets, or virtual anything. Whenever if you have some idea, you can just describe and then experiment and then improve, and eventually uh, that probably becomes something not only useful for you but also useful for others, right? So the whole idea of the make the aging as a no code app builder is the idea that um, if you have this idea, if you have this kind of a skill that you train your own agent, why not share this agent to others and let others also use this agent to do something cool, right? um, and the whole art block, based on the blockchain ecosystem, we try to make this kind of eventually become an ecosystem. So in the case somebody use your agent or use your idea or use your component to make some money or make some income, you're going to get a cut automatically, right? So that is also going to encourage the innovation because nobody eventually want to uh, creating cool stuff and then you not get paid and you don't get anything, right? Imagine, for example, like Amazon has a famous stories about the using open source. Like AWS make a lot of money based on the open source software, but the open source software builders they get nothing. Um, so yeah, it's totally legal and it's totally correct because as long as you create open source software, you're supposed to make it contribute for others to use, right? But the reality is, if you create some cool application, cool software that you get nothing, you still live in a very poor life. But somebody else use your applications, make a millions or billions, but you still get nothing. That is kind of discourage you, from contributing that, right? So this could be changed. I think this is one of the core or bigger things that our block want to bring to this builder community is we want to build an ecosystem that let everybody be able to participate and work together as a big team. Everybody focus on what you're good at, right? And then when there's a profit, there's good, is going to share it across um, the different parties. And so that's why blockchain is so important because blockchain with smart contract, um, everything is happening automatically, right? So in our human society, it's very easy to, if without blockchain, it's very easy. We agreed on something, but when things changed, right? So somebody will not honor what they agreed, just because time has changed, the relationship changed, or because sometimes because there's too much money involved. Um, but with the blockchain, with the smart contract, and we agreed on something, and the machine, the algorithm, and eventually maybe the AI, they're going to act like a digital god, right? So they are always follow whatever you have promised, and they're going to execute as you promised. And then that become a better collaborate. That become a better environment for collaborations. So that applies for software, for art, for any kind of creativities. People deserve to get a reserve if they create something cool, create something new, right? We need to have this kind of ecosystem to ensure people are collaborate with each others, and so that's the ultimate goal our blog want to enable.
Oh, I love that so much. Seriously. Okay, this is probably do you want to end this potentially at an hour?
I'm good. So as long as we have enough, people are interested listening,
Oh,
I'm
yeah,
good.
then I'm completely fine. I just wanted to make sure that you were okay because I'm used to going forever in spaces. So whenever you get tired, Robert, you need to let me know.
Okay.
What kind of I liked this question and I didn't ask you it earlier, but I don't know. Looking ahead, what legacy do you hope to leave behind, both personally and professionally?
No, I never think about this.
I
I,
know, I know.
I think it's not that meaningful, right? So yeah, so it's not that meaningful for considering a legacy or something, right? It's about kind of live in the present time and try the best to do what you really think is valuable to do, right?
Well, and I know that you've mentioned like you've kind of said or you've mentioned it kind of like wanting to with Arcblock you always wanted to do kind of the right thing and I feel like you're doing a great job at that. I feel like that will be your legacy ultimately is that you always stood by your morals and wanted to do the right thing.
Yeah, I hope so, but honestly, I didn't think too much about the legacy itself. But I think to do the right thing is so important. So this is I want to kind of repeat one of the ideas that I talked about, like the freedom in the China experience, right? And also I think this is the same um, as building a software, building the startup. If you build something. Because I in the past I have a two startup experience, and both of the startup are doing pretty good. Um, but I kind of feel that at some certain point, because I'm too young or because I'm not experienced enough, and also because of the environment, because the place I stayed, that eventually make me not be able to do the right thing. So that kind of become a kind of like it become a pity after many years. You think, okay, what if I consistently do something that I believe, not kind of a not get defeated by because of money, because of regulations or a lot of things. You never know, right? So I think so building art block. Um, Luckily, right now I'm building art block in the United States. Even though there's a lot of complaints about like the regulatories, a lot of things that is tough. But I can still manage it because I ever built something innovative in a more kind of a miserable place, and even there's no perfect place in this world. There's always something that you have to deal with it, and but it's lucky right now I can build art block in America, and I think we should definitely keep doing the right thing.
Well, I think that you've done a fantastic job at that. Let me see, what else do we have? What is the main differentiator between Arcblock and every other blockchain project?
Okay, so yeah, so there's a lot of main different things. So technically, our block itself is more like a next generation cloud computing project rather than a blockchain project, right? So because our block's goal is creating this new platform that to make the building and deploying and using decentralized applications so much easier. So this is kind of like a cloud computing. The only difference is cloud computing is a centralized service, which is usually the cloud is provided by one provider. They have full control. But our blog want to make this cloud as fully decentralized, and this is kind of more like I honestly I think this is more like the vision of the original internet. Right? Um, but as I mentioned, to make this kind of a decentralized cloud be able to work, something really important is how to ensure the payment is instant, how to ensure there's no problem that somebody break their promise, somebody not paying you. Um, so, so to make this kind of billing and operation support better across multiple parties, blockchain is a perfect solution. So, so in our block platform, blockchain itself is actually not at the center. The cloud is at the center, but blockchain is basically like the nervous system that control everything. It's for the billings, it's for the payment, it's for the we call it operation support. So operation support basically means and who own which asset, who should pay who, right? All of those kind of detailed things. So because this belongs to multiple party, so the blockchain is probably the only solution so far from the computer science point of view to be able to solve this problem good, right? So that's why. So when our block we build blockchain, we are kind of not really that much locked by the concept of like a so-called OG, like a um, uh, some of the blockchain project they really want to hey we are like Bitcoin, we are kind of like original concept, or we are POW, so that anybody that is not proof of work is not great. We never have this kind of idea. We always think blockchain is something that we not need to be useful to need to solve the problems, right? So in the project beginning, we think Ethereum going to evolve and become something really powerful. We don't really need to build a blockchain. We just use Ethereum. That's why we in the first few 2 years we all thinking Ethereum will eventually evolve. The way we don't necessarily to build any um, blockchain itself. We mostly focus on the building this we call the OCAP, Open Chain Access Protocol. It's a so this is just a protocol that talk to any blockchain, and we do not want to build a blockchain. We want to build the cloud computing. Um, but eventually, because the whole blockchain did not really uh, develop as I wished or as I expected, and then we beginning to build our own blockchain in order to solve those problems. So if you look at this blockchain architect, I believe Arcblock is definitely belongs to kind of a very little, very different blockchain because our blockchain is completely optimized for the billing processing and for the operation and operation control of a new generation cloud computing platform. So we are not built for financial industry. We are not optimized for like digital gold, like Bitcoin. That's not what we do. We're also not a smart contract platform like Ethereum, right? So so from the whole architect point of view, we are very different.
Very,
Yeah, I hope
very
this answered
different.
the question. That also kind of explained why we are so different.
Yeah, I think it definitely did. You want a lighter one? What is your favorite Star Wars character episode? Ah, I messed it up. What episode of Star Wars is your favorite?
Yeah, yeah. I think, of course, you know, I guess what so of course I like the young Skywalkers, right? So, um, but sometimes I have a T-shirt that has Das Vida.
I want to know about this one because this is something that I'm actually curious to hear your answer on. How do you see where the world is heading, let's say in the next 5 to 10 years, and how do you see crypto in that world?
I think it's very hard for me to kind of predict like what's happening for the world, right? So even for the industry, it's also very hard to predict because the technology is moving so fast, right? Um, but why I can see from one point I can see, I believe that blockchain technology, right, the real blockchain technology, and the real crypto, we're definitely going to outpace today's, online banking, wires, all of those kind of traditional stuff, because there's if you look at all those kind of technology innovations, there's even though the new technology sometimes is going to face a lot of obstacles, right? Because the traditional things try to stop it, the governments try to stop it, but you never see any of those get really stopped, right? So from that point of view, I think blockchain technology and the crypto, they are more advanced technology, and it's not able to, it cannot be stopped, even though there's a bad actors, there's scams, or there's problem because of the technology is not matured. But the overall the trend is definitely going to is unstoppable, right? So before we have this space, I just was read the news that uh, the I think the there's just an overturn for one of the SEC's ruling by the Congress, right? So now it's up to the president to veto or to approve that into the law. So that's kind of a see the trend is no matter how the old world people hate this technology, no matter how many bad actors take advantage of this technology and try to make some quick money and hurt the industry, but this technology advance is unstoppable. I believe that in maybe uh, 5 years or even less, blockchain and crypto will definitely play a very important part um, of our world.
I just wonder with that one, like I've always believed that crypto is the future of money, of assets. At some point in time, that will be what we use. But I do wonder when that will be because it would take a lot to, make that the norm essentially. But I feel like it's the future.
Yeah, it's definitely the future at the core. Maybe for the end users, you will probably not realize that something has been changed because people we still want the familiar user interface. But at the core, what at the technical core of that probably already be changed. So this actually reminded my first startup. My first startup is building a technology called voice over IP. So what voice over IP is basically like a telephone, but with the internet technology to transmit the voice, right? So this is how what my first startup did, right? So when we run that startup, the telecommunication company is basically like a king of the world. Like in the United States, there are AT&T, right? In China, there's China Telecom, and all of them are hate the voice over IP technology. And of course, most of those VoIP company are very small company at the time. We just take a little bit we just make a little bit money and turn a little bit kind of a voice volume traffic volume into the voice IP, into the IP voice IP, right? But today, imagine how many telephone are running on voice IP over IP. Even you're still using the traditional telephone, still probably from AT&T. I think if it is not 100%, is maybe 99%, because the voice IP technology is just way much better. Is way much cost effective. Is have better quality, and uh, so it's definitely going to replace the whole traditional telecommunication infrastructure, right? So when I started that, my first company, internet is just a small network. It's a small network that is running on top of the telecommunication network. The biggest network at the time is telephone network. But the internet is just like one small part of the digital data network built on top of that or overlapped on that. But today it's completely reversed, right? The data network is the largest network across the world. But we still have telephone network. But the telephone network become a network that built on top of the data network, and still have the old function like voice, because voice conversation is a human. Human has used voice conversation for so many years. We don't want to, because we have a digital, but we still need voice communications. So I believe that in the future, right, we still need money. We still have payment. We still kind of swipe the card, doing things all conveniently like we have today. But what different is what end layer, they're all replaced by blockchain and crypto. As there is no longer like Swift, no longer this kind of traditional bank wires, is all crypto, all blockchain backed.
Yes, definitely. Do you potentially want to open this up to questions of people in the audience, or what would you like to do?
Yeah, I'm open. So, but I would not talk about if somebody asks me, when we're going to list on something else. I will not talk about that. Or anybody
Yeah,
asks
I
us to, can
agree.
you
I
disclose
feel
some?
like, well, maybe I'm going to bring my friend Tim up here, but maybe you should handle the request. Do you know how to do that?
Um,
Because you might know more so who you would feel more comfortable
no, no,
with.
I'm free to talk to. I'm too free to talk to anybody who have the questions. Just I have certain things that I will
Yes,
not be
certain
able to
things.
talk.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
We can mute them if they bring up things we don't want them to talk about.
If they bring this up, I would just say sorry. I cannot disclose. That yeah, that's fine.
Awesome. Tim, what was your question?
Hey, thank you, Lydia, and thanks, Robert, for this tonight. It's awesome. I have a tremendous amount of respect for what you're doing in building a utility first, and that is on the blockchain. And we've covered some of this tonight, but I guess my biggest question is, do you find it difficult to convince potential investors or just potential users of your platform of Arcblock's long-term utility in this age of like fast buck meme coin flipping, where people are just looking to grab on and make 10x and go away? Um, Obviously that's never going to go away completely in crypto, but what you're doing is the future of crypto because you actually provide services and utility. um, but is it still difficult, considering this is new, to convince people of the importance of that?
Yeah, I think that's a Tim. Thanks. I think this is a very good question. It is very hard to convince people. It's always hard to convince people to try new things. Um, so we do. I think we there is some kind of different. We tried many different ways since our blog inception. We actually tried different routes. So in the beginning, when we just started, we were thinking, okay, when we build this kind of a lot of utilities, who are going to be our major users? In the first 2 years, I think are focused. We focused a lot of energy on the enterprise and large corporate customers. So during the time, we joined a few of those kind of corporate labs, or you can call this kind of partnership, but this is kind of like proof of concept labs running by the large corporate. At the time, I think we become a partner of IBM. We joined one of the blockchain innovation labs with SAP. We also talked a lot with large companies here, and also we approached a bunch of large companies in China, and we actually built a few of those kind of proof of concept. We even bidded a few of those kind of called SBIR, which is a U.S. government related research project. Because at that time we're thinking maybe this enterprise, those big players, if they are interested in the blockchain, if they build something on blockchain, that will be a big impact. Uh, so that's the first few years we think. But after we do that for 2 years, we get some revenue, we get some customers. Most of them are proof of concept, but we realize that that probably never going to happen. Because most of those large corporate government, they are interested in building this proof of concept is just because at the time blockchain concept, crypto are so big to them. They want to understand. They want to understand what exactly this is, right? So they threw some money, threw a little bit money, and built this proof of concept. But eventually, after they figure that out, most of them are going to shut this down. Not because the technology is not good, but they once they understand this, they realize that this is going to hurt my core business. So it's just like when I do this voice over IP. So every single telecom company know that this is the future, this is technology. But everybody going to shut this down. Even in China, they make this illegal. You could go to prison by doing this. Why? Because they know that this new technology is going to kill them, right? Who is going to want a new technology to kill them if they have a lot of money, right? Eventually, eventually, after 2 years try, we realized that you're never going to make those kind of giant big guys turn. But instead, we have to find the smaller people, right? So small people, just like Arcblock ourselves, we are very small, we are new, so we are underdogs, right? So we're willing to try new technology. We want to kind of try some new innovation, new technology, and we try to turn the world upside down. We want to be disruptive, but if we are doing that right, the underdog can become, you can become big, right? If you look at all those internet companies, Facebook, Instagram, even Microsoft, all of us were underdogs. We're a very small company, but we with new technology, eventually we become big. Uh, so now our block really focused on try to persuade a small group of people who understand, who believe that new technology and a 10x better decentralized platform will eventually going to win. So today maybe we have very few people who are interested or willing to use, but as long as we show them, and there's always going to be somebody going to begin to believe and begin to realize, right? So I think this is what's happening right now in our community, and I'm so excited to see from our community. A lot of people are talking to us. They it's not because just because blockchain can make money. It's important is I finally see. So there's a project, there's a technology that can really change things, and when this eventually, coming up at some certain point, I think it's going to be a tipping point when the big players realize that it's already too late. It's already in too bad. This has become unstoppable, and at that time, underdogs become, is no longer underdogs. So that's why our block platform we always want to reduce the barriers of entry. We want to make this aging that no code experience, you can build applications, right? So anybody can build. So as long as you have a good idea, because of AI, because of blockchain, you can build something useful. You can make money. You can be, you can have a lot of customers, and someday maybe we can make it. So yeah, I hope this answered your question. This is actually what we are doing after a few years trying.
Yeah, awesome answer. Thank you so much, and I really, just such a huge fan of your project, and I can't wait to see what continues to develop. Godspeed.
Thank you.
I had a request for Vessi to sing another song, and I feel like this would be a perfect time to do it. Vessi, Christina asked if you would sing Everything is Free. I don't know this song, but I would love to hear it, and it sounds like it's right in line with this space.
Oh, I would love to sing that song. Christina knows that Gillian Welsh is one of my favorites, and that song is amazing. Just if you'll give me a moment to get my lyric, and I will be at it. Would love to.
That's
Yes.
awesome. Yeah.
She's my go-to. She's awesome. Anybody here, you can hire Vessi and she will sing music for you. And you
Wow. So
should
can
hire
I
her.
request another song? So,
Yeah.
since you already seen Promise, the other song I want to play in the developer conference is My Way, because
Is Wait, My Way by Bon Jovi?
I think.
yes.
That I
Is that
just
Bon
listened. Is the
Frank
wrong song?
Sinatra.
My Way? It's not. I think it's not Bon Jovi. It's Frank Sinatra. Yeah.
My way, that one.
Oh, I bet she would do that song so beautifully. Yes, now I know what you're saying. I was thinking of a different song.
So, in the interim of finding the lyrics, I can do an original song if that would be if
That'd
that.
be great. Yeah, original, awesome.
All right. Human beings are social, we're just no good on our own. Human beings are social, not meant to be left alone. Oh, hold me tonight, hold me close to your heart. I'll console you tonight, and in the morning we'll start. Ah, so if you wanna wake up and shine, that'd be fine with me, that'd be just fine. 'Cause all you got is this moment anyway. No guarantee that we'll be here another day. So give yourself of love, give it every day. Be grateful for the love that you breathe and pray. Then I know I'm not alone. When I can call you with my Arc phone, I'll turn my love light on, my Lord. Lord, so many ways to get back home. There's so many ways to get back home. There's so many ways to get back home. We light a candle in all their names, for the world is never gonna be the same. Gonna miss you, girls. Gonna miss you, girls. Gonna miss you, boys. Gonna miss you, boys. Oh, ci amo. It means I love you. Oh, ci amo. No one above you. Human beings are social, we're just no good on our own. The future's now. Let's go.
Nice.
It was beautiful, Bessie. That's one of my favorite songs that you sing. I was going to ask a question and now my brain just completely blanked out. Oh, I don't remember what I was going to say, and it was important. Give me a minute.
That remind me my days in Ireland, and Ireland is the first country that I lived outside China, and in Ireland has a lot of people has they're great at music, right? So almost
Oh,
all those events, everybody is singing their original songs, and that's
that's
super.
beautiful. Robert, you must have loved Ireland.
Yeah, I really loved Ireland, and especially Ireland. Irish people are super friendly. So they really gave me a lot of help. When I first moved to a foreign country, and yeah,
I know what I was going to ask you, Robert. Um, is there the capacity to do music NFTs on Arcblock?
I think it's totally doable. Yeah, because our block NFT is technically our block NFT is nothing but a verifiable credentials that is verified that what is the ownership, right? What is the ownership for it? and its payload is stored on the data spaces. That it can be anything. It can be software, artworks, or music, or it actually can be anything. And also um, what's important is the copyright information, and also or probably the percentage of contribution for that piece, no matter it's a software or artworks. That's supposed to be exactly the same as for the software or piece of a piece of artworks. So yes, short answer is it is yes. But to make this as a good user experience, like a Spotify on Arcblock, it definitely needed developer teams to optimize this for these kind of user scenarios. Right? If you just put the music MP3 there and mint at today's traditional NFT, the user experience is bad. Even you have some information there, but the user experience is bad. That's not good, right? To make the whole things easy to use, I think that's very important. But this is doable.
I was just thinking, like, that's one way that you could use Arcblock, or this is just music related, but I was thinking about the fact that you could create an application that's doing pretty much exactly what Vessie's doing right now, which is looking for lyrics. Like, you could create an application that could do that, right?
Yeah, it's of course, yes. But just looking for the lyrics, or I think there's a lot of applications that you can do that already. So so to make like a music NFT, I think the first thing is need to think about why you want to make that as an NFT, right? Yeah, so after, if that is meaningful, that to create that as an NFT, that's create some values, I think that's going to be valuable, right?
So I did find the lyrics. I agree with you, Robert. Lydia, I think that the best thing you can ever do is to mint something that's valuable and leaving legacy, whether it's your family tree, whether it's a story of how your parents came to this country, if you're a first generation American like me, or, the story of Ireland. I want that story on the blockchain. If a song was written about that, you'd want that to be minted. And if it was a one of one, or if there were many editions, it would be great to just have that song. I love songs as memories for things that have actually happened. And that's one of the things I love to do. I love to do customs. But if you'd like, I can sing the song now. I did find the lyrics.
Great.
All right. Well, this is for Christina. This was Christina's request. This is by Gillian Welsh. All right, guys, here we go. Everything is free now. Everything. Oh boy, you know what? I'm so sorry. Hold on, guys. Everything is free now. That's what they say. Everything I ever done, I'm gonna give it away. Someone hit the big score. They figured it out. They were gonna do it anyway, even if it doesn't pay. I can get a tip jar, gas up the car, and try to make a little change down at the bar. Or I can get a straight job. I've done it before. I never minded working hard. It's who I'm working for. Everything is free now. That's what they say. Everything I ever done, I'm gonna give it away. 'Cause someone hit the big score. They figured it out. that we're gonna do it anyway, even if it doesn't pay. Every day I wake up humming a song, but I don't need to run around. I just stay home and sing a little love song, my love to myself. Gonna do it anyway. Sing it for yourself, 'cause everything is free now, that's what I say. No one's gotta listen to the words in my head. Someone hit the big score, and I figured it out, that we're gonna do it anyway, even if it doesn't pay. Even if it doesn't pay. Thank you.
That was beautiful. Thank you.
Beautiful.
And I think that that is kind of one of the coolest things about Arcblock is that everything is, well, I mean, from the standpoint of building, everything is free.
And at the same time, the value is priceless, and people want to pay for it.
Yeah, exactly. I like the priceless. Yes. So that was actually one of the very few advertising I saw when I was in China. Yeah. So that gave me a lot of memory. So that's why I mocked one of the things. Say there's a lot of thing there's something money cannot buy, but everything else there's cryptos, right? Not Mastercard. There's the cryptos.
What would you say is Arcblock's next big milestone?
I think the next my big milestone, I always think the next important milestone is actually I want to see more applications that build up our community um, more than we build ourselves. So this is one of the important milestones, which is actually the benchmark that we're looking for. Because right now, most of the stuff are actually building by Uplock ourselves. I think we're always looking for an important benchmark that they're beginning to have more applications, more successful applications that built it by the community, by other people, right? Not the art block team. So that is the next thing we are looking for. I don't know how long that will take, but this is something we want.
I was feeling like that. Like there's going to be at some point soon some sort of big release that comes in relation to, and maybe you already know this. So if I'm letting the cat out of the bag, I'm sorry. But I was just getting this feeling there was going to be a big release in relation to some sort of application that someone builds, and it's going to like, it's going to, people are going to see a lot through this. What is possible ultimately.
Yeah, I believe so. So especially with the release of aging, and I believe there's a more and more increasing possibility that there's going to be more successful applications created by the community. Um, so yeah, aging itself is, I keep talking about aging is not only because AI and large language model is something popular, but is because this is critically important and valuable for the whole art blog ecosystem. And this is actually a surprise, which is because when we plan our blog, we didn't foresee this. We just want to have this platform that is used for the composable applications, which is a blocklet that people can build applications like Lego, right? Um, But even building software like a Lego is still hard because everybody we play Lego. For example, I like Lego, but I never be able to build amazing Lego buildings with Lego myself because of skills. Even building the Lego is so easy, right? But now with AI, um, so you don't need to build it yourself. All you need to do is you have this brilliant idea and let AI build together with you. It's just like I see the Lego. I really want to build the Lego to build like amazing, like a rocket, but I'm not able to do it. But I have this idea. Now I can imagine I have a assistant who is great at the Lego and he can work together with me. That makes things way much more possible to achieve. So this is huge, and this is also a surprise. So that's also a very that is also an advantage of having in our architecture so many building blocks. So we have a lot of advantage because of this architect. It's just lucky we didn't think about this before, but now everything is just to add up.
I wonder if there's anybody else in the audience who has any questions, because I think that I've combed through pretty much all of these. Does anybody else have any questions for us? If you do, you are more than welcome to grab a mic. Robert might tell you to shut up, but if so, respect him.
Yeah, I want to. I said I want to announce it during the talk. This is for the Q2. We mentioned in the roadmap say that we're going to have this kind of a the mining program for everybody to participate. But we didn't disclose that very clearly because we actually honestly we have this idea, but we still kind of laying out the detailed plans one by one. One thing that I want to announce that to share with everybody is that we, for this kind of a mining idea, mining plans, we decided not to just start from this Q2, but instead we're going to reverse back to since our inception. That is basically once we have this mining plan, so the mining is actually started from year 17, and we're going to counting every contribution in the community from 17. So that is basically to say any contributions you have done today or yesterday, last month, last year, we're going to count that into this mining program. Uh, so if you know the mining, you see the mining is a very nice, concept. So that's actually one of the most impressive thing when I first saw Bitcoin. Um, is you're not just to kind of reward people with like a fixed price or fixed thing to reward people, but instead you have you have basically like you have a budget, right? So this budget is there, and whoever thinks this is valuable, they're going to take it. But how much share they're going to take depends on how many people think this is valuable, right? So that's exactly like in the Bitcoin mining. If there's nobody else think Bitcoin is valuable, so only I mine, so I get all those Bitcoins mined. Every block is basically I mine it, so I got a lot of Bitcoin. But because not but if a lot of people think this is valuable, everybody going to get into the compete to this mining. So the pool going to have to divide with a lot of people. Depends on their contributions. Um, so that basically means that you have a lot of competitions and or you have a lot of people to share this with you. Um, so and then this is a very interesting dynamic. Is it's really depends on how you think, how valuable it is. So we want to extend. We want to get this kind of mining program started from uh, very beginning. Is somebody might get excited, get a surprise because for example, I want to call the DM, and when we are basically a lot of people thinking we are just completely empty and fake, and also because our ABT price is so low, and but Dion reached me and he he interviewed me and talked up, and we discussed a lot of things. Um, I I I think that's a kind of beginning of like forming up the community, and also a lot of things. For example, like for society, um, we are lack of hand. We spend most of the time on building stuff, but and the software and application, some of how to use it, how to get started is very hard. And for society, he just do it by himself and create some tutorials and shout some help the other people to um, to use. And also I see, for example, the green, right? If I pronounced it incorrectly, forgive me. And and he helped the people in the community. And so there's a lot of people I can see in the past. So they helped here and there, even when we are so invisible, or but we want to count all of those contributions today. And because this kind of mining policy, a lot of early contributors, and they will probably get a lot of percentage from those pools. But in the later on, when we are growing bigger and bigger, we probably the pool size, the mining pool size, also become bigger. But because a lot of people realize this is so valuable, so the more participate paid coming, so they probably get, even though they work harder, and they probably get, because a lot of people realize the value, so they get smaller pieces, right? So this is exactly like the Bitcoin mining process, even though we're not using the POW, but instead it's kind of a proof of this is proof of contribution, right? So, and what's interesting is we're trying to use AI to make those kind of to make this kind of a assessment. Because for somebody, if they say, hey, this is something that I did before, what is the value and what is it's not it's let the AI, we try to build a rule, then this rule is going to drive by our community voting and community to review the rules, and then eventually the AI going to based on our community's rule to decide and calculate the contribution. And so that is something that coming we're going to announce soon in quarter 2. And yeah, so that's basically when, even though the plan is not announced, is not executed, but every contributing is counting. And we want this makes this fair and also fun, right? The most importantly, I think it's fun. Mhm. And Lydia, I do remember in your list one of the person asked, say, so there is a 35%, there is 32%, and 15% wallet, joint wallet sit there. So can you guarantee that they will never get circulated? So I think that's a very interesting question. That's a very interesting question.
Yeah, I actually erased that question because I was like, oh no, I don't know if he wants to answer this one.
So yeah, I actually want to answer this question. I think that I can guarantee they were going to circulate it. so so instead, I say, can anybody guarantee that? Not, no, they're guaranteed they're going to circulate it, because those 32%. If you read our white paper, that 32% that belongs to the community reward program, right? So that is not going to immediately released, because that's it takes a long time. And also the all so our plan is all those kind of revenue income from our platform. So the profit from that platform, that's actually going to contribute back to that community pool. So that's the idea, is when more people come to build in this platform, and then they get reward from the revenue income that from the end user, they also get a reward from that community pool. So that community pool, when you see that circulated, is that because there is more people to join and building real stuff, real valuable stuff. So that's going to release slowly, based on how good the community, how good the new applications grew on our platform. Right, the 15% of the that belongs to our team. That includes myself. Technically, I personally do not own any ABT at this moment, because we decided we haven't we haven't touched that pool until now. So our block token is 100% kind of a unlocked token from very beginning, because that's the idea I'm thinking. Um, if you decided, for example, for our first ever investors, institutional investors, uh, he can, for many of those kind of VC driven project, the VC dumped the token first day whenever there's somebody want to buy. But for my first investor, he never touched it, and you can consider that is also locked. That is also not circulated at all, because it's never changed, right? So the 15% token that belongs to the team, that belongs to myself, and also my whole Arcblock team, we never touched it. Is because we think. We want the whole platform grow, become big enough, good enough, become really valuable, and then we're going to still they're going to be it's going to be circulated, right? But maybe slowly.
I think that I don't know how to say your name, Athat Khan 88. You had a question and then you put your hand down, but I think that you probably did have a question.
Hi. Don't know if you guys can hear me. My
Yes,
mic
we
is.
can hear you.
Oh, great. Yeah, it's early in the morning here. 5:30 in the morning. I should be asleep. But thanks for having me on. I'm honored to be here with you, share a partner with you.
You're
Yeah.
going in and out.
Yeah,
Sorry,
your voice is very low.
yeah. Sorry, my speech is really bad. I'll just get to the question quickly. Do you have any plans, or any of their partners have any plans for a debt? Um, for basically for having ABT to buy as mainnet instead of going through the ETH route. Um, yeah. That's
I
okay.
don't know if we got to hear your entire question because I think you cut out.
Oh, is there any plans for a DEX or for ABT or for Arcblock directly?
Okay, decentralized exchange, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, so that's a very good question. So for I know that the reality is, I know that not a lot of builders, especially looking into our blockchain protocols. Uh, so our blockchain has built-in exchange capability. There's an important transaction we call the exchange, which is a core for decentralized exchange. So whenever you buy anything, use a payment kit, you buy, for example, you buy a server, you buy a blocklet, you buy something, you get an NFT, right? You get some. So that what behind scenes is actually is exchange. So technically, the whole our blockchain is a decentralized exchange protocol that is used for exchange different resources, for computing resource, a storage, a software, a service. They're all decentralized exchange, right? So the only difference is that, so this concept of this DEX is very much different than the DEX in the Ethereum or today's blockchain. You see mostly is for exchange tokens, but this is protocol for exchange the for example, any digital assets, include tokens, NFTs, or NFT represent some kind of resources. Um, so yeah, so the short answer is yes, we're definitely going to have DEX support, because that's at the core of our blockchain, and it's all actually already running for all of those kind of blocklet and blocklet server and sales. That's already powered by, is powered by a decentralized exchange. But is that looks like Uniswap, or is that it looks like those? It's probably not. It's probably different. I can disclose one thing is, with upcoming in the latest data wallet update, you see we are just experimenting one of the messaging, real decentralized messaging system in the wallet. Once the messaging is stable, the first thing that we're going to enable for that messaging is allow you to send blockchain transactions through that messaging, right? Once you are able to exchange message transactions through that messaging, That basically means it's very easy for you to exchange different digital asset without come to any exchange service. Instead, you can do this kind of peer-to-peer um, exchange. So that's a more decentralized exchange. Yeah. So, and also, if anybody interested in who is a developer who is interested to build this kind of a decentralized exchange, to have many different. For example, you can totally build a decentralized exchange with order books, exactly like the same centralized exchange with the same experience of the order books. You can also build this kind of AMM powered decentralized exchange like Uniswap. Our blog platform can support them, but just need somebody to build on them.
I think
So
I may I ask a question? I think I understand now. So
mhm.
basically, if I wanted to start my own meme coin, you could help me do that, or my own brand coin, and
Yeah, the answer has two sides. Yes, technically you can do it. You can create any meme coin or any new tokens. However, right now we did not encourage people to do that. There's a number of people ask me how to do that or should we do that. Usually I discourage them. Um, the reason is I honestly myself I don't see enough value of the meme coins that build on our block ecosystem so far. And there's a lot of platform that you can build a meme com. It has a lot of those kind of infrastructure that is good for have a meme com to become popular. However, from my point of view, even we can do that, I do not see immediate value that bring to this ecosystem. So I kind of discourage people. But if you know how to code, nobody can stop you. You can actually do that today. But whenever a lot of people come to talk to me, I try to persuade them, don't, no, don't, please don't do that. To understand why I want to do this is I recently I shared my concept of the tokenomics based on like the city. Like it's basically like I'm thinking like our blog ecosystem is like a city. So a city need to have freedom. We talk about freedom. You need to have freedom, but freedom does not mean you do not need a government. You do not need a governance, right? Freedom does not mean I can build whatever stuff on my neighborhood, but instead, there's a protocol, there's a planning, there's protocol that people reach this kind of consensus that we want to do something and we do not want to do something. Right? So I kind of thinking the Ethereum become today's Ethereum is because Ethereum is lack of governance for creating ERC20 form beginning from year 2017 also. A lot of people create a lot of garbage ERC20 coins, and eventually ERC721 is also lack of a this kind of a governance. So that become it's basically like free places that you can build anything, no matter what.
I love
But if
this. Go
yeah,
ahead. Go ahead.
yeah. So imagine like this is imagine a city. We need a freedom of city. So we want to be very inclusive, right? So anything as long as it's not very super bad or as long as it's break the law, we should not kind of need. We should allow it happen. But we also need to uh, have some kind of something we want to encourage people from doing it because we want to pay people, we want to encourage people, we want to have grant something. We want to kind of discourage people. It's not permit because it's permissionless, but it's something that I suggest people. Oh no, don't do it, right? So I would wish somebody create an interesting agent or interesting bot like a more kind of astrology stuff like a more there's tons of applications you can create, right? It's very easy to create a new coin that doing nothing but just to kind of promote it and pump and dump. But that does not, I think, from my point of view, that does not um, uh, bring enough value into the community. In short term, it's good, but in the long term, it's hurting. I think this already kind of those kind of meme coins and MEV, all of those, is actually hurting Ethereum community a lot. In the longer run, they might it those kind of quick money, those kind of quick traffic, it might quickly cool down. So I use this kind of experience for I use this kind of a city compare, say Mimicon is like a black rock cities of the Burning Man, right? It's in the desert. It's suddenly in the festival. It brings tens of thousands of people into this. This is like a utopian of the world, but this is does not last longer than a week. And you are not going to live there. You probably want to experience the Burning Man for once or twice, or even come every year. But you are not going to be able to live there. It's not your home. So that
That is so true. I really love. I think I'm understanding the way that your mind works in a way, and I learned that in cities, in communities, we have an ecosystem, almost like a forest does, within people, and that we get to communicate with 150 different people, and that becomes efficient. That's how many points of contact that we can make. But coming from this kind of social aspect value, where it to me it feels like, and I'm not sure, I'm very new to this, but you're building a grid upon which a city can stand on that will have value, that can trade amongst itself, and but people will be able to have a fluid point of money transfer. So are you looking to the closer ecosystem of something, and what are those pieces and parts, if so?
Yeah, so I think the analogy you just mentioned is absolutely correct. We are basically like building like this kind of infrastructure that like we're building the power grid, we're building the road, we're building, you know, all the utilities, and we wish, and we are also going to build a few of those buildings for demonstrate that it is actually going to work. But we want more and more builders to come in and building meaningful applications, meaningful services, right? So I also kind of acknowledge has an analogy uh, for if you build a city, it's not everybody need to be the owner of the land or owner of the business or owner of the service. So the city also going to serve a lot of tourists, a lot of people who just come here to work, to live, right? So those people they still contribute for the whole economic of the of city, and they get what they want. But there's some people who are the builders. The builders they probably they own the land. They build the stuff on. They build the stuff to make the land become more valuable, and they run the business to make money or contribute to. And there's also people try to build this kind of a public utilities, and probably does not make profit, but that kind of overall contribute to the whole community. So that's we want to our blog. We want to kind of first we lay all those grid, lay out, build all those utilities, and then we want to build one or two this buildings to demonstrate that this is doable. We're also going to maintain this kind of like public town squares, and in order to kind of have something that is for the better communication. But most importantly, we want to build those infrastructures that everybody can. They're not build. They're not going to build their skyscrapers on sands. Instead, we lay the solid ground for everybody. So that's our vision. And eventually, if somebody want to kind of do something, these miming companies, there's nothing hurt, right? As long as it's not a scam, it doesn't matter. So I think there's nobody going to stop you, right? But we're going to kind of encouraging, right? Uh, so people, hey, today, now let's build a park instead. Let's build let's build a home shelter for people instead. Not building like a casino on the in the heart of the city, right? This is basically like reflect my, I lived in different places, kind of like in the middle, right? So I'm not I don't like everything need a permission to go. I also do not think that you need to do whatever you want, right? So this is kind of in the middle. We need we need a freedom, but we also need a framework. We also need a law, need the you know yeah, I kind of support a law and the order. Yeah.
Yeah, I wanted to add quickly for those who are not super familiar with like the blockchain space and all that. This is not unusual where certain chains allow something but technically discourage it. Like just recently, Dogecoin, is enabling inscribing onto their blockchain, but the lead developer and I think owner came out and says that he highly discourages it, but it is something that's allowable. So this is not unusual.
Yeah, inscription is totally nonsense. It does not create any value. Is instead is basically like is polluting the Bitcoin network and any other network that supporting that is actually going get polluted, right? So this is basically like in a city. There's always people just kind of there are some people they're creating art on the walls, right? But there's still some people just dump garbage. so so I think we need to build a community, especially in the early days. We really need to make this harder. For example, today for those I just mentioned, if you want to create a Mimikon, it's totally doable. First, you need to all you need to do is understand the APIs, and also the protocol fee is extremely expensive. So if you want to create a new coins, and it probably costs 10,000 ABT to do that. And in the future, we're going to make this like a stake based. Um, so you're going to stake a lot of tokens to ensure that you're not going to do something bad, right? So this is how we try to governance the whole
I
thing.
kind of like that because, yeah, the way that you're setting that up, it's like you're going to make sure that people are serious about what they're creating, and that's brilliant.
Yeah, yeah. You see, in the Ethereum, right? It's very easy if you know how to write code. It's very easy to create a token and then put that on exchange. That costs almost nothing, but then pump and dump or scam can get the real money and the real token from others at almost at a no cost. That's actually why I make the inscription, because inscription people are that is kind of rebel. I can see why people create inscription, because I can see the inscription is a rebel from the people without enough technology. They find that in the Ethereum world, there's all those guys who know how to write code. You're basically creating these shit coins and dump to us. And I'm just as average people. I do not need to write code. I come to here just want to make some money, but instead you get just rugged all my money. But what if there's something that no technology can build, can be helpful to do this? Will that be more fair? I kind of can understand them. I think this is a very dumb idea. It's not going to be fair. It's going to just it's still dumb, right? But there's a we try to figure out maybe there's a better way. We so we do not we make this harder or make it costly for people to doing something that is potentially harm. Um, yeah, so that potentially going to make it harder. That's actually the whole staking system design in Arcblock. Arcblock has a very different and a very heavy, uh, a very serious staking and a slashing system. That is you staking not for creating new coins, you staking for get the privilege to do things, right? It's basically like we buy a house and we need a mortgage. We stake our house for the mortgage. But if you dare not to do something bad, you're going to lose it. You're going to lose big, right? So that's our idea. We're thinking on the on our blockchain, because building cloud computing, there's tons a lot of other things that we need to worry about. For example, what if somebody building a decentralized apps is completed on the children porn, right? So what if somebody building a decentralized application is an illegal casino that is complete scam? How to deal with that, right? Because I think the decentralized application, self sovereignty does not means you are free to do something bad. It's not means you're free to you know do the crime that we let people do not be able to catch you. It's completely not, right. It's about responsibility. Is nobody going to control you? Nobody, you're not going to need to permit it to do anything, but you're going to be responsible for what you're doing. If you're doing something bad, you're really going to get catched very bad, you're going to pay the price. So
Yeah,
that's the
I
kind of
think
philosophy that I'm trying to build in the art blocks blockchain.
I think that's perfect. Hold on a second. I think 12-inch profit. I think you are next.
Hey, can I ask Robert a question?
Yeah,
Yes,
sure.
sir.
Hey, thanks, Robert. Um, you know, first off, great space, Lydia. Really appreciate it. Robert, I really, man, it's so cool that you're making yourselves accessible in this way. Uh, and I would just really, you know, say keep going. Like I could already see like your insight and the way that you explain things. It's I could. It's there's a genuineness to it, and it's. I think it helps people to kind of easily catch on. At least that's what I've seen from the tutorials that you've been putting out for the AI stuff. I'm the guy who put together a bot to make my kids homeschool worksheets.
Cool. That's very cool.
So
Yeah.
that's super. Yeah. Um, so I it seems like blockchain 3.0, the way you're describing it, is this maturing that's happening inside of the technology, inside of the industry. And to see the way that you kind of pontificate on the ethics of it is really cool, man.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, I think it really grounds the conversation, like creating meaningful apps, providing value. Like this is the part of capitalism and making money that is the good part,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
When we
Yeah, exactly. So actually, what we see this internet actually, doing the same thing, the same cycle, right? So in the beginning, internet is just the geeks' toys, and is there's no business value, just the scientists and the students, geeks play with it, and then suddenly. People think this is quick money. You can very easily get the quick money from VC. I remember there's a joke called a beg.com, right? So I'm begging on the street, nobody pay me, but I use a beg.com and I instantly get 1 million, money from the VC. That was the bubble in the internet, right? But the bubble busted. But the internet is not the end of the internet; it's the end of the stupidness, right? So the stupid or the people just think the internet is quick money making machine. They just fade off, or the people think the internet has no value, and they just failed miserably. But there's still a few of the people they realize that the internet has great value and that they keep building, right? So eventually, after many years, eventually they make huge success. I always want to kind of naming like Amazon, because Amazon is a company that I see it from like a very terrible web page, and to see it IPO'd in during the bubble and see it dropped to dropped to a little bit, very very tiny. A lot of people losing money from there, but eventually it proved itself. It become one of the giant. So there are so many stories. For example, one of our blog's early investor is also my friends, Mr. Dinley, right? So we and his company is also the same thing, right? So in the internet bubbles, and he IPO'd, and his price is dropped below $1, and get a warning notice from Nasdaq, want him to delist, but he kept building, and eventually he became one of the most successful company in internet company in China. So I see all those kind of stories, and so I firmly believe blockchain is the same thing. Those who people thinking blockchain is just a scam, um, or just a casino, it's their loss. It's their huge loss, because they didn't realize that this is a technical revolution. This is going to be the whole infrastructure of our future society, right? So building the right thing, that's going to have a huge lot of value. So fortunately, we have see, uh, the light has come, right? Like 5 years ago, the real story is 5 years ago. Sometime when I meet some of my old friends, and they say, Robert, how bad you are. You now you are part of like a scammer, and what?
You're with the gangsters, man.
Yeah, what happened?
You're in the mob. Well, that was another thing. What you wrote the other day, you were talking about how if this was a city, trading the property would potentially diminish the value of the property. And in crypto, there's this, at least a strain of degens that, get a thrill or they find value in trading coins rapidly. Um, so I thought that really made me think a lot when you said that analogy. I was like, that's true, man. If you believe in this property and you think that the minerals in it are there and you just need to build on it and dig them out a little bit, then you trading is a temptation that is short lived. It's short sighted.
Yeah, I think the trade itself, it's the overall trade is going to be good for the economic, but you cannot just purely trade, right? And also, the trade definitely help the economic growth because there's a people need to buy and sell things. But I always think the best strategy is build. Um, because if you keep building, you constantly generating new stuff. I think that's our blog going to make a lot of people going to because our what we can bring out from our blog is basically like infinite, especially with our composability. uh, with 100, just with 100, 100 base component, you can build millions of different combinations, right? This is like infinite, right? So there's a so if you just think, okay, our blog just have ABC, people who are going to fed like this, they're going to super disappointed with it because we're going to have infinite new features, cool stuff coming out. Some probably not that cool, some going to be very cool, right? Um, so building is the best strategy. You always can building something because you're building something from nothing, right? So, but if you're not able to build, just like say, just hold and sit around, or if you don't see, or if you think this is risky, or I don't believe, don't do, and then don't buy it, don't hold it, right? If you think a
Right,
city, if I don't believe Black Rock City is going to be valuable, why are you going to buy a desert
right,
there? Never, right? I will not believe in that,
right,
right? Hmm.
right. Thank you very much, Robert.
Thank you.
I look forward to the next update, and I appreciate all the hard work that you're doing.
Cool. I think your app is definitely have the potentials and keep building. And if you meet any issues, let us know. We're definitely going to help them to improve our product.
Thank you.
I think our next question is, I don't know how to say your name, at that con 88.
Oh, thank you. Sorry. Can you hear me again? Can you hear me? Hello?
I don't think
Hello, can anyone hear me? No?
we can hear you, but it's a little bit, you might need to go closer to your microphone.
Hear me. How's this better? No. Uh, hello?
Yes, we can hear you.
Hello, can you hear me? Go on.
Oh no.
Hello?
There, well, we can hear you.
I can't hear nothing now. Ah, the question is, I don't know if you can hear me. The question is there an option of getting like instead of typing into AI gene, can we speak into it so it writes out our code as we speak to it?
Mm.
What a sound it's got.
I didn't hear your question clearly because it's
He asked if you
mm.
could speak into Asian instead of write the code.
S- right now, no, you cannot, and because the way aging itself is still an application builder, right? So the application builder, I can explain, for example, what's the difference. For example, for age, for example, right now aging itself, the model is the same as ChatGPT. It's based on the GPT model, right? So I plan to create a tutorial. So what's the difference with the agent's application to compare to ChatGPT, if it is the same, right? So but what you when you use ChatGPT, you basically ask the ChatGPT to do something for you again and again. Every time you say, "Hey, do this, do this, do that," right? But what makes this as an application is you made all those routine things into an agent very specifically doing things for you, right? So once you make all those kind of routine things into different agent, that becomes application. That becomes application. Um, so the ChatGPT is more like a general purpose thing. You just talk, and that guy is going to do anything for you. But if you want to do things routinely, you probably need something that is easier. So you can just make this repeat process so simple to use. So that's why for the aging, we still need that interface. Looks like a input processing and output. It's not a writing code, but it's still kind of a little bit kind of like a structured mind that you need to make the agent do certain things. If you want to want to use agent to build a serious application, there's still a bit learning curves. So that's why I creating tutorials. The tutorial right now is still just in the very beginning part. But if you want to create something more complicated and to solve the problem, even you don't need to write code, but you still need to get multiple different agents to respond things, right? One of the analogy I'm using for explaining the agent is I'm planning to use that as a restaurant, right? Imagine if you're going to run a restaurant business, right? You have a bunch of employees that can do anything, but you do not want your employees to be the chef and also the waitress and also the accountant, right? You want to have a restaurant is a team. Somebody is a chef that working in the kitchen and to make great food, in batch, and you want to have the waiter and waitress and they just serve the customers. You probably also need somebody just handling the accounting. So each of them are doing a very specific, clear, job role, and then you make them work together as a team. So that makes you an efficient restaurant. But if you just yourself, you can still do the restaurant business. But your restaurant probably is not good, not be able to be very big because every time, whenever a customer come, you have to talk to them and you have to cook the food, serve their table and access money all by one person, or all mixed by different person is not good efficient. So that's actually the difference of aging and just using ChatGPT. So that's also why for the agent you still need to um, do a few things with those interface, not by simply not today's technology is not ready yet to let you just talk to it and it's good it's created. It's not there yet. Maybe not in 5 years.
What about
Oh, thank you for that.
oh, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I just want to say thank you for that. I don't want to keep on echoing. My mic is really bad. So yeah, I really appreciate that. There's still a lot I need to learn and get into with Arcblock. My phone. I keep getting error messages. That's something we're gonna deal with, I guess. Yeah, very excited to get started more, and I look forward to and anyone else who's smart enough to make one.
My question for you, Robert, in relation to that, though, is can you create a chatbot that can talk to you, though?
Can I create a chatbot to talk to me?
Yeah. Well, his question was, can you write the code? Ooh, I'm losing my voice. Hold on. I don't know what happened. Sorry. Uh, whether or not you can write the code by talking to it, can you create a chatbot that can talk to you?
Yeah, sure. You can create a chatbot. You can create a chatbot to talk to you, and you can also teach. You can, what you can do is you can also teach the chatbot to create code for you. So, well, I'm going to show, for example, I in my tweet I just write something, said our team's building a AI try to pass my interview test. So what exactly he does is he uses agent to create a new chatbot, new type of chatbot, and that chatbot is basically writing code, uh, and so that is completely agent, chatbot applications. Um, but it can do certain things for you, and so technically you can create many different type of chatbot in the future. For example, you can create a chatbot and say, hey, buy me bitcoin, whenever bitcoin price drop to 50K, buy $10,000 for me, right? So you talk to the bot, and the bot, if you authorize the bot to use your money and your account, when the bot is going to keep monitoring, and whenever your condition is met, is going to execute the action for you. And also in the future, imagine the AI bot can completely be your assistant. Say, hey, I need to find a uh, airline ticket to, let's say, to Taiwan, right? So today, imagine, I spend a little bit of time to explain this. Is that fine? Uh, so today, for example, if I want to buy imagine I'm planning to go to Taiwan. I want to buy a ticket, right? So, but then I'm going to do the search. There's a lot of limitations. For example, if I search the airline ticket, if I see the ticket price is very expensive, should I buy or not buy? So this is not a simple question that if the price under a certain thing, I'm going to buy, because there's a lot of reasons that why I'm going to buy or not buy. For example, if I really need to get to there for some uh, business situations, maybe no matter how expensive it is, I'm going to just buy it, right? But if it is not that important, I could wait. I could check, if I can check maybe a few days before or after to find the best price, right? And also, I might have a lot of kind of a consideration on what kind of airline do I want to go. Uh, and also, I will check if the price is so. And also, you might have question what is expensive or cheap. It actually really depends, because if in the summer, in the holiday season, maybe a price with a very high number is actually cheap, because the whole price is going up. So those decisions are very, very complicated. Today, for our business people, usually you can have this kind of your assistant, because your assistant know why you're going to be there. They know the deadlines. They know your budget. They know your preference of what kind of airline, what kind of a seat class you're going to sit, and they intelligently make the decision for you, right? Um, so today, if you just use the like online website, is just to give you compare the price. They do not make this decision. So in the future, what you can do with the AI bot is you teach your AI bot, you teach your AI agent all those kind of they learn from you. They know your budget, they know your requirement, they know your preference, and then they constantly 24 by 7 they constantly try to execute uh, the work for you, just like your assistant that is always working, always on. Then they can make the right decision for you. So that's a different of the this those AI agent, and you can basically talk to them to let it understand you and then do things. But to be able to make this happen, you need to train them. You need to let them know what kind of a task you want it to accomplish. Is right.
Yeah, I find that one to be very interesting. So, like a virtual assistant, essentially.
Yeah, essentially, I think everybody going to have your multiple different agent, and just like imagine if you have infinite resource, probably I'm going to have a lot of assistant, a lot of coach to do different things. But unfortunately, I don't have that much resource to do all of this, and also there's not much even I have the resource, there's not much that kind of good assistant or good coach to do all those kind of crazy things with me at my time, right? But now there's AI, and anybody can have that, right?
Well, I think, Robert, I have to go to sleep soon because it's like 1 o'clock in the morning and I'm starting
Yeah,
to
I
fall
think.
asleep.
Yeah, I think it's a good time, and yeah, it's also very late for me.
Thank you guys so much for coming. This was awesome, Robert. I'm so happy that we got to hear your voice and your ideas behind so many things. And I love hearing the way that you described the ecosystem.
Yeah, thanks everyone for stay this late, and also thanks Vessi for amazing songs, and Lydia, thanks a lot for always supporting and organize this event. I hope I'm not too chatty because sometimes I could become very chatty.
No, I wanted you to be chatty. I wanted to hear
A lot
your
more,
vision.
Thanks, Robert.
more,
Good
more, more.
night.
Good night.
Good
Good
night,
night. Thank
folks.
you. Thank you.